Being compliant is just straightforward. Being maliciously compliant? Well, that's another story. Welcome to this episode of Malicious Compliance. Our first one is from Cheesy Friend. I work at a gas station in Oregon, with half the pumps being self-serve and half being mini-service, which means that we're there to pump your gas for you, but not obligated to do anything else, like wash your windshield. But we do when we're asked, to be nice. There's this lady that comes in almost every day and gets like $5 or $10 worth of gas, asks us to wash her windshield, and never tips. She's really weird about it, like it's her little power trip. Last time she was in, it was raining, and she still smugly asked me to wash her windshield. And being a hardcore customer service guy, I did, but then I thought twice about it after the fact. I go that length for nice folks, but she's not nice. She's bitchy and whiny and weird. So windshield lady comes in today and hands me $9 for gas, then as usual asks me to wash her windshield with a smug look on her face. I said I would, but then by the time I got back out, there were a good 8 cars on the pumps. I told her, I'm sorry, I can't do your windshield right now. It's too busy. Well, she gets really snotty with me and has me stop the pump, which means that since she paid cash, she needs her change. Okay, you'll get your change. I went inside and told my coworker I needed the change on pump 2, but made sure to vend extra pennies from the safe and put 50 of them in there, loose. He looked at me like I was crazy, but then I explained who it was for, so he gladly handed me over the change. By the way, we have to wait in line inside the attached convenience store with other customers to get change for gas, because our pump guy often doesn't have their own till open for a shift. So, as I was standing in line to get windshield lady's change, she came inside and was death glaring our other customers, and then must have seen me waiting and went back out to her car. She was already getting snotty with me the moment I walked back out to her car, so I put the $3 bills in her hand and then an absolute cascading assload of pennies and a few nickels on them. Sorry, we're short on silver, I said. The look on her face. That was the most satisfying use of pennies ever. She sounded like Milton from Office Space. She was still stammering when she was driving away, and I didn't listen to or identify a single word she said, hoping this will discourage her from coming back. But if it doesn't, then we will once again have a shortage of silver change, because alas, that is the economy that we're in. Times are tough. I mean, that's a fantastic way to comply, maliciously, but also in a lot of ways get some revenge on a customer that just seems like a royal piece of shit. And our final one is by 50 Many Questions. I'm a high school English teacher. I have 2 major annoyances when it comes to kids doing work. First, a lot of kids don't read or listen to directions. Assignments' instructions are written on their papers, and I read them out loud, but I still have students asking me, "What are we doing?" That's no big deal though. It's a pretty normal thing to deal with as a teacher. The real issue bugging me is students cheating on writing assignments using ChatGPT. I'm pretty good at spotting AI-generated essays, but the problem is that when I try to accuse these students of using AI, they deny it. They act outraged that I would accuse them, even though we both know they're playing dumb. I usually just give them a 0 and move on with my life, but there's always the fear that one of them might take the issue to administration. If they did, I'm not confident that admin would back me up. It's hard to prove something is AI generated, and these days, the higher-ups are more likely to side with the student. So I hatched a plan. I gave an open-ended creative writing assignment. The directions said to write a story about anything you want, and then answer some questions about the story you wrote. The thing is, when you ask ChatGPT, tell me a story, it always spits out the exact same story about a girl named Alara who lives in the woods. Once upon a time in a small village nestled between rolling hills and dense forests, there lived a young woman named Alara. She was known throughout the village for her curiosity and sense of adventure, always eager to explore the world beyond the familiar paths of her home. So in the slightly smaller print above the instructions, I wrote, if your main character's name is Alara, minus 99 points. Lo and behold, I got 1 or 2 kids to turn in a story about a girl named Alara who lives in the woods. When I turned back the papers with the grade of 1 out of 100, because I find that it stings more than a 0, the kids predictably asked why. And all I had to do was point to the instructions that they didn't read. There was no need to mention AI. We both knew what they did. Edit, for those saying they tried ChatGPT and got a different story or name, I don't know why it's inconsistent. All I know is that I get the same story every time, and so do my students. The paragraph I put in the post was copied from ChatGPT directly. I discovered all this when a student submitted that same story earlier in the year for a different creative writing assignment. It's gotta be difficult to be a teacher now and compete with AI. I mean, when I was in school, teachers would check Cliff Notes, things like that, to make sure that you weren't taking anything from there. We didn't have AI. It's gotta be rough trying to differentiate, but in this case, if you actually know what the AI might put, and then you cover all your bases by creating instructions you know the students probably aren't gonna read anyway, beautifully done. Alright, that's enough maliciousness for the day. Well, that wraps up this episode of Malicious Compliance. If you liked the video, please drop a like, share my content on all of your social media, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to hit that bell so you're notified every time I upload, and drop a comment down below. It really helps with the algorithm and helps new people find my channel. Thanks for watching, thanks to my patrons and super thanks contributors. Have a great day and stay safe out there.